You tell your child an instruction, how is he likely or how is she likely to follow it right away? If you are wondering, how do I get my child to listen? Today in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the 2 reasons why children don't listen, and I'm going to show you the path. My name is Marcela Collier. I'm a parenting coach with Impact Club. If parenting with understanding, gentle parenting, is something that you want to do, but you don't know where to start, this is the place to start. I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell, because every week I upload new parenting content. You really want to raise your child from kindness. You really want to be a gentle parent, and you try to be kind, to communicate the limit with respect, and your child looks at you, smiles, and keeps on doing whatever he was doing. Or he doesn't even look at you, or he says no to you. You start getting frustrated, you lose it, and you raise your voice, or just get the kid and put him in the car, and it left you thinking, I really want to do gentle parenting, but is gentle parenting right for my strong-willed child? Would this work for my child? Would this work for my family? For sure, they're testing limits because they know better. And that's a common thing that I get from parents. Knowing better and knowing how to do better are 2 separate things. You know you shouldn't yell at your kids, but you still do it. The same thing with your children. They know the limit, they know the instruction, but it is very, very hard to follow an instruction when you are under pressure. It is very, very hard for you to follow your own rule, which is not yelling at my kids, when you are under pressure. Imagine an undeveloped brain. Your brain is developed. If you are over 25 years old, your brain is fully developed. Your children have undeveloped brains, and for them it is even harder because their neurocortex is an undeveloped area, and that's the area that helps them with impulse control, that helps them to follow the instruction even if they don't like it, even if it makes them feel frustrated, even if it makes them feel disappointed, even if it makes them feel whatever they're feeling. So your children, they're not testing limits, they're learning to follow the limit under pressure, because getting that no from you, it produces a lot of pressure in them. It releases cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and when children are stressed out, it is hard for them to access that logical thinking. And for adults as well, but for children it's way harder because I told you they have undeveloped brain. Now let's go back to the question from the beginning. Does gentle parenting work with communicating limits to a strong-willed child, the child that would not take no for an answer? Yes, you just have to know 2 things. And those are the 2 reasons why your child is not listening to you. Number 1, to understand the process that takes you to communicate that limit. If you follow me on TikTok, I know that you saw this video because it went viral. My mother-in-law was with one of my twins, and then they were practicing the piano, and the piano teacher was there as well. And then the teacher was communicating the instruction to one of my twins, to Miguel, that was Miguel, and he wasn't following the instruction. He was just doing his own thing. So number 1, to understand what we perceive and how we process what we perceive. The experiences we perceive go through our beliefs filter, and that filter produces feelings in us and then reactions. Miguel wasn't following the teacher's instruction. He was struggling to follow the instruction because he wasn't understanding the lesson quite there. My mother-in-law saw he wasn't following the instruction, and that's what she saw. Her belief system is children have to follow teacher's instructions. She is a retired teacher, and that's her core belief. So she filtered that situation through that belief, and that created a feeling in her. She didn't say what she felt, but I'm sure she felt disrespected, and from that she acted, from that she communicated. If you're not going to follow the teacher's instructions, you're not going to have ice cream. All she saw was he's not following instruction, belief. It was filtered by her belief. It created a feeling in her, and then it led her to react to him with that limit. You're not going to eat ice cream because you didn't follow the teacher's instruction. The number one reason why children don't follow your instructions is because it's charged with emotion that you had from that belief about that experience. Number one. And number two, because it might not serve the child, it might serve you. Children need to follow teachers' instructions. Who is that serving? The child or the teacher? When you know parenting with understanding, when you gain understanding, you gain the knowledge of knowing that every single behavior is the communication of a need. Because I know that, and I'm trained in parenting with understanding. I saw a child struggling to follow an instruction because he wasn't understanding. And I was seeing that through that lens. I was seeing that through that belief. Every behavior communicates a need. So if I would have intervened, then my reaction would have been way different. Why didn't I intervene? Because I wasn't there. If you watch the TikTok video, you will see that I came after the fact. I came when she was communicating the limit to him. You're not going to have ice cream. So I came late. But if I would have lived the situation and not her, my belief system would have been, he needs something, he's struggling. Then how can I help him navigate that with the teacher, communicate that with the teacher? And number two is because we may have really great intentions of being gentle parents. We know how to be kind, but we don't know how our children process information at their developmental stage. We may have an 18-month-old, a 2-year-old, 3, 4, 5, 7-year-old. And we communicate the way we communicate to other adults, not knowing how these children are understanding best. Let me give you an example. Remember, they have undeveloped brains. What is the word that your child, 5 years old and younger, understands or remembers the most? They may understand many words, but the one that they remember the most is always the last word you say. Yes. So if you say stop running, stop hitting, they're going to do it more just because they're hearing that more. They're hearing hitting, they're hearing running because they're remembering the most that last word. If you don't know how to communicate with them effectively at their level, that's a big roadblock when you are trying to give an instruction or set a limit. They're not going to be understanding you. To communicate limits effectively, you need to, one, replace those old broken beliefs that came with our parents of children need to listen to their parents because their parents are the authority. To, how can I help my child with that need he's communicating, replacing that belief so when the experience happens, it is filtered through that new lens and your feelings are not in the way, your emotion is not in the way when you communicate that limit. Number one. And number two, to understand how to communicate with your children effectively, I do it with a 3-step method. I have a 3-step method to communicate limits to Leo children in 3 simple steps that anyone can follow, even your Leo ones, even if your Leo child is not able to verbalize yet. Matter of fact, I have hundreds of parents in members area following this 3-step method, and one of them is Miranda, and she's saying that it didn't only help her communicate limits better, more effectively, but it reduced the fights between her 2 toddlers because she's handling situations more effectively, knowing how to communicate with them at a level that they understand, that they can follow. It has 2 other video classes, one about transitions and the other one when your children ignore you, how do you handle that effectively? If you want to access it, I'm going to leave the link in the description below or go to marcelacollier.com. You can get it there. Is your child in the no phase? Yes, that is a phase, but because it is a phase, that does not mean it's going to go away on its own. You need to do something. You need to be assertive and proactive. You need to be assertive and proactive in handling that phase so it doesn't extend to other developmental stages. And many times you go in the face with your child, meaning you say no to your child even more times than he tells you no. If you want to handle your child's no phase successfully, I created a full video about this. It is this one right here. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Tell me, how old are your children and how long have you been doing parenting with understanding or gentle parenting? Okay, I'll see you next time, and it only takes understanding to transform your parenting.